We're in a wood in Kent, quite near Tunbridge Wells. This is an art trail called Pathways Art Trail. It was curated by two ceramicists, Gemma Gowland and Jane Sarr. The woods that we're in, they're quite diverse. There's a coppice chestnut, really old oak trees, pine trees, and there's an avenue of beech trees. Beech trees have quite dense leaf litter, so not much undergrowth grows underneath them. And that was the ideal situation for my pieces. My pieces look like puffballs grown up in the night. If there's too much brambles and ferns and things, then you can't really see them. At one end, they're covered in all different varieties of lichen. So there's yellows, whites, pale green. Those represent all the different types of lichen. But then as you get further along the series, diversity of lichens decreases. That's showing how air pollution affects lichens as you move away from the countryside back towards the city. In London, there's very few lichens, really only the white and kind of yellow crusty types. The green kind of bushy types don't survive there because there's too much traffic pollution. Lichens are a really interesting symbiotic partnership between fungus and an algae and sometimes even a cyanobacteria. For a while, scientists have been using them to work out which areas of the country are more polluted. We still have problems with lots of lichens not really surviving, and that means we've got a reduced biodiversity. I was writing a book on special effect glazes. I tried this whole series of lichen-effect glaze. So I thought, why don't I do a kind of sculpture piece about lichens and air pollution? Eventually, after doing a lot of glaze tests, I hit on something that looked a bit like green shield lichen. And there's another yellowy orange lichen called xanthoria. And those are the crusty, cracked, scaly lichens that you see. The main ingredient of this lichen-effect glaze is magnesium carbonate. And this ingredient soaks up a lot of water, but as it dries, it shrinks a huge amount. My pieces are made of thrown porcelain and stoneware, and I usually make two bowl shapes. Then the next day I join them together into a big... It's like a vase, but with no hole in the top. It was quite hard to make the larger scale ones, so I'm used to making small jugs. The larger pieces, first few I made exploded in the kiln because they weren't quite dry. If you leave any moisture in the clay, as soon as you heat up the kiln, it turns to steam and it explodes the piece. So I did have a few disasters, but eventually I got there. This year I applied to 2 sculpture trails and I was really excited to be accepted to both. And that meant I could travel to both Kent for this sculpture trail. And then there's another one in Devon, which I've also put some pieces in. So it's been an opportunity to go and spend time in the woods. When I was here at the weekend, I camped out for the whole night. That was really lovely. I listened to the birds and it was just a lovely evening.